Hey, fifth graders, I hope you're doing well. I sure do miss you. So before we get started today, I want you to grab your English paper. So we're on lesson 123. That's page 235. So if you can grab page 235 and also like a piece of scrap paper that you can like write at least 5 to 6 sentences on. You'll need those two things. So pause this, go get those things, and then come on back. Okay, let's look up here first. We had been studying adjectives, which we're kind of still in the middle of that. Adjectives describe nouns. They always answer one of two questions: what kind or how many. And articles are special adjectives, a, an, and the. So if we were in school right now, this information would be above the board because it's stuff we've learned, but we're going to continue to refer back to that. So if you want to write this on an index card so that you can refer to it as you're working, that would probably be very helpful. Now, today we're going to start talking about adverbs. And adverbs describe verbs and other things, but we'll learn that later. Adverbs describe verbs, and they answer the questions how, where, and when. Okay, so let's look up here at the board. I've got both of those written: adverbs that they're describing verbs and the questions that they're answering, and adjectives that they describe nouns and the questions that they're answering. Okay, let's look at a few sentences together today. The tornado moved quickly. Okay, so on your scrap piece of paper, I want you to go ahead and split this sentence between subject and predicate. Underline the subject, underline the verb, and then try to find an adjective and an adverb. Okay, let's do this together now. We're going to divide this sentence right here between tornado and moved. And the subject is tornado. What did the tornado do? The tornado moved. Okay. We just reviewed that the is a special adjective called an article, but we mark it as an adjective, the tornado. Now quickly is an adverb because it's describing moved. And what question is it answering? The tornado moved how? The tornado moved quickly. So it's answering the question how, and we mark it this way: adverb. Remember a few weeks ago that I told you to be sure that your adjective marking is nice and neat, because we've got one coming up that's similar. Your adverb marking needs to be nice and neat as well, so I'm able to tell what it is. Adverb. When you have adverbs that are answering the question how, often they're going to end in ly. Not always, but often, like quickly does. Okay, let's look at the second sentence. Now, before we go on, I want you to try to do this on your own. So pause the video, try to find the subject, verb, and tell me if there's an adjective or an adverb in the sentence. Okay, so we're going to split the sentence after it. What's our subject? It is the subject. What did it do? It came. And then yesterday is a word that is describing the verb came. Let's figure out what question it is answering. It came how? Yesterday. No. It came where? Yes. No. It came when? Yes. It came when. It answers the question when. It came yesterday. So this is an adverb describing the verb came. Okay. The tornado traveled northward. Go ahead and pause me while you work this out on your own, and then we'll come back together and we'll do it. Okay, so the sentence is going to be divided between tornado and traveled. The simple subject, tornado. What did the tornado do? The tornado traveled. What part of speech is the? The is an article, a special adjective, and so we mark it as adjective. Let's look back here at northward. Northward is answering a question, one of these three questions up here. The tornado traveled when? No, that doesn't make sense. The tornado traveled where? Yes, it's answering the question where the tornado traveled. The tornado traveled northward. Okay. Now, there are special adverbs known as negatives. Okay? And I'm going to show you a few of these. It also talks about these in your yellow information box. There's a little green information box that talks about negatives. So let's do this one together. Tornadoes do not occur in California. Okay, so the subject ends here. Tornadoes is our simple subject. Now we have a verb phrase, and there have been times in the past where we've been working with verb phrases, and I said don't include this because it's a different part of speech. And you're like, well, what part of speech is it, Mrs. Gay? And I said, we'll come to it later. Guess what? It's later. Okay, so our verb phrase is do occur. Tornadoes do occur. Not is called a negative. It's a special adverb that's describing when they occur. But there's a special name called a negative to that. In California, of course, is a prepositional phrase. Okay, so we could also have this. Not is a negative. So is this. Never. Okay, and there's a list of those in that green box. Never occur is also an adverb that is describing when tornadoes occur. But make sure you look at that green box so that you are familiar with the negatives, the negative adverbs. Okay, kiddos, let's look at this last sentence. And we're going to pick this apart, and then I'm going to teach you how to diagram adverbs, which is easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, so where does the black tornado move swiftly? Where does this sentence divide between subject and predicate? After tornado. What is our simple subject? Tornado. What did the tornado do? Moved. Okay, let's come to this side. So, the and black are describing tornado. Tornado is a noun. Black is describing what kind. So this is an adjective describing the noun tornado. The is an adjective describing the noun tornado, telling me how many. It's an article. Swiftly. Swiftly is describing moved, telling me how the verb moved. The verb moves swiftly, so I'm going to label that adverb. Okay, now draw your line for our diagram. We're going to split it down the middle for subject and verb. Okay, our subject here is tornado. What did the tornado do? Moved. Okay, now we're going to diagram the articles, and they have to be in the order that they appear in the sentence. The black. Now we're going to diagram swiftly, and just how adverbs come off the noun that they describe. So do adverbs. So swiftly describes move, so it's going to come right off moved. Swiftly. Okay. 5th grade. Today you've got pages 235 and 236 to complete. I've got a special basket here, though, that are going to give some choices to you. Either the even questions or the odd questions or all. Boom, boom, boom. Look at it's a little emoji with hearts on there for eyeballs. Okay, so depending on what I draw is going to tell me what problems that you need to do today. Okay? Okay, you are going to do the odd problems. Okay, 5th grade, I'll see you soon.